another wonderful tribute to a man, a player and a manager, Gary Speed, who will be so sadly missed. Let's join your commentators for this game. It's Charlton against Huddersfield. It's Gary Birtles and first Bill Leslie.
Yeah, more special and moving tributes to a special guy after an incredibly sad couple of days. Gary, before we get underway here, have you got anything you'd like to add to all the tributes that we've heard over the last couple of days?
Well, fantastic tributes, and rightly so. I didn't really know Gary Speed, but every time I saw him in a tunnel, he always come across, shook hands, had a chat. He was that sort of guy. There's a lot of arrogance in football. None of it can be directed in his direction. Just a top bloke.
And all of us who had the pleasure of having any sort of dealings with Gary Speed would echo that. So Charlton, 5 league wins on the spin, 4 clear of the nearest competition at the top of League One, and Huddersfield, 5 wins in their last 7 league games, but trailing their hosts here by 5 points. It's teed up beautifully here on a perfect night for football here in southeast London. They might be split by Sheffield Wednesday at the top of the Empire League One table, but these are the two sides over the last 8 games in form. And of course, Huddersfield, is it an inspiration or is it a little bit of a millstone, this record? As Alan Kirshley said a moment ago, it's certainly been talked about. Can't get away from it, can he, Lee Clark?
It's just brilliant, pure and simple. It's a fantastic achievement. And that was part of the one that we went 42. We never thought that'd be beaten. You know, we played on dodgy pitches, as we saw in the build-up to the game. But it doesn't matter, you've still got to go those number of games, no matter what standard you're in.
What does that do, a long unbeaten run like that? For team solidarity, for belief? Do you get to the point where you don't think you can lose?
Well, that's right. You go out, depends on the manager and the backroom staff. You know, we had great manager and assistant in Brian Clough and Peter Taylor, instilled you with that confidence, and I think that's the same with Terry McDermott and Lee Clark. Terry McDermott ended our 42 unbeaten run, scored 2 goals for Liverpool at Anfield. So he knows what it's all about.
Forced to do some defending, 2 of the best defences in the league on show here, as well as the 2 strikers we singled out before the game in rare attacking form, Jordan Rhodes and Bradley Wright-Phillips. It's an intriguing tussle on so many levels, this one. Tommy Miller at the heart of the midfield for Huddersfield, sprinting it wide. It's the fullback getting forward, and Chris Solly gets back to turn it out of play.
See a lot of desire early in the game. Just wanted to get the tackle time to perfection, get it right. Hear the atmosphere around this ground. All sets of supporters know how important this game is. Sets of players do as well.
Might still be in November, the last fixture of this month, but it's dripping with importance and perhaps significance for the busy spell ahead over December.
The thing is, if Charlton win it, there's a big gap. If Huddersfield win it, it's closed, and the teams in and around that top 6 get a little bit of confidence and think, right, you know, maybe they are catchable. Maybe we can get up there and get the top 2.
Looking particularly sharp as usual in the sartorial department on the touchline, and he's done an absolutely superb job this season. 34 players coming and going, and that was just over the summer, not to mention the new faces on show here this evening. John Parkin, one of those, putting himself around. Charlton will certainly get a physical examination at the back from the man they call the Beast.
And he gives them a great outlet. Of course, they've got Rhodes with 15 this season, but what a foil he's got in Parkin as well now.
They're going to need to be absolutely spot on both sets of centre-halves, and you saw Morrison keeping a very close eye on Jordan Rhodes.
That's the thing as well, we forget about centre-half sometimes. We talk about forward players, goal scorers, but I think you just touched on the right subject there. Both sets of centre-halves, pretty strong. You don't win all your games, well, you don't lose just one game as Charlton have. I mean, Stevenage and the run that Huddersfield run at the moment without having decent back lines as well.
Another element that it's going to be interesting to see tonight. Johnny Jackson, their captain, a lot of their goals, not just scored by him, but created by his elegant left foot. They're going to miss that. Will they cope without him?
Right, Phillips is a bit sloppy.
Getting his head to it first again. So to another of the new boys for Charlton, Darryl Russell. I remember him if you haven't seen him in action. He hasn't been in action much for Preston this season. Long association with Norwich City. From Scott Arfield. Solly on the cover. Getting there ahead of Gareth Roberts. Danny Green. Looking to hit the front and find Bradley Wright Phillips. There's excellent covering from young Jack Hunt in from right back.
I'll tell you what, look at this for vision. Just tries to get in between, but that's excellent defending. That's concentration. That's what I was talking about a minute ago. Desire. Getting your first header, your first tackle time right, and having the concentration for a full 90 minutes.
Beaten in the league, but not exactly unbeatable, Huddersfield. They lost heavily in the FA Cup at Swindon. They lost at Cardiff, conceding 5 in the Carling Cup earlier on this season. And the man committing the foul then, John Parkin, a scorer for Cardiff City in that game. Most damaging defeat, though, in the run at Old Trafford in the playoff final against Peterborough that cost them promotion.
It's no disgrace. We all know what Peterborough were about. Free scoring. Difficult to play against.
A lovely touch from Bradley Wright Phillips. Here's Ephraim. Royce Wiggins. To Hogan Ephraim, who puts a good ball in. Wright Phillips was licking his lips. And it was well defended by Huddersfield. Now they can think about coming forward. Touch from Jordan Rhodes. And Matt Taylor, who's taken the captain's armband in the absence of Johnny Jackson, did enough to make sure that the Terriers' prolific striker couldn't bear down on goal.
Well, this is a game no player needs winding up for. You can't get yourself up for a game like this. You don't deserve to be playing professional football. And early stages, not much goal-mouth action, but I tell you what, all around the pitch, there's a load of energy out there.
It's the 19th game of the League One season for both these two. Charlton 40 goals so far, Huddersfield 37 so far. Balls in from wide, whether it be from fullback or midfielders. Certainly an early feature of the way that Charlton are asking questions of Huddersfield. Here's Hogan Ephraim.
I guarantee both managers, coaching staff will have looked at DVDs of games the opponents have played and tried to pick holes in either side. Now the slightest weak link is
Scott Arfield. Russell. Had a few days to train with his new teammates and get to know them.
I was here for the Johnson's Paint Trophy game against Bradford, which they lost, and you wondered, well, how would they react? It wasn't a full side. Bradford deserved to win that evening, but the response has been magnificent. The run they've gone since then, lost to Stevenage, 6 straight wins, some going.
Well, they're on the best running run in this league. Don't need to dig too deep to see why they are the form horses so far. scored the most goals, they've got the best defence. This with pretty much a brand new side, moulded by a manager in his first job, and lots of plaudits, and rightly so, Chris Powell. Here's Arfield. And it's a corner for Huddersfield.
You can certainly see Huddersfield coming here to defend.
The added beef they've got to their attack, the introduction of Parkin. Bad effort by Arfield.
It's a deflection. Nobody picks him up there. Lone figure on the edge of the box, tries to get his technique right, just off balance a little. He get over the top of it.
He's still in a little bit of space, Scott Arfield inside the D. As Gary Roberts whips it in again with venom. Excellent delivery from the former Accrington Stanley player. This is a little bit of Huddersfield pressure here. Arfield in. Darryl Russell's head. Chance for Morrison to clear.
Feel the intensity out there. Just describe the delivery in there from the corner. Terrific, but defended really well as well.
There's Solly, homegrown fullback at Charlton. Coming through with Carl Jenkinson, in fact, who got that summer move to Arsenal. Leave it to me, says the Frenchman Jan Kermorgant, and Ephraim happy to oblige. Jack Hunt. Green coming in off that left, and so to Ephraim from the right. There's space for Solly. There's plenty of movement in the middle as well. Green.
You talk about how it's going for Charlton this season under Chris Powell. It wasn't always so rosy for him. It's about giving managers a chance, getting his own players in, creating his own team, and he's been allowed to do that. And look at the results. So many times I think clubs get rid of managers too early. Good for this club for letting him get on with it.
There was a change in the boardroom, wasn't there, about the same time that Phil Parkinson's tenure came to an end, and Chris Powell to pick up the pieces there. Only won 5 games out of his first 23 last season. As we've heard already, big show of faith in terms of overhauling the playing staff in the summer, and hasn't that reaped dividends for Charlton as they look to climb again up the league ladder. Here's Parkin. Arfield making a run in the middle. This is Gary Roberts.
You saw how quickly they can break Huddersfield. Roberts coming inside. Parkin's never going to accelerate away from you, but he does reasonably well here. Holds onto the ball well. Picks a good pass to Roberts. Just doesn't get his first touch right.
Morrison detailed to try and keep Rhodes quiet. It's away by Darryl Russell. Hunt. Russell. There'll be a break on here for Charlton. Kermorgant sizes his options. He's got Green to the right.
Just held on till long there, Kermorgant.
Parkin spreading it wide, and Jack Hunt over the halfway line. The experienced midfielder Miller. You can see already, can't you, Gary, just approaching the quarter of an hour mark, the two sides set up in similar style, and very well matched.
Just frenetic so far, isn't it? Passing, the movements quick, playing the right way, in my eyes anyway. Down, passing it, moving it quickly. I think last season, I think what Southampton and Brighton have achieved so far in the Championship have really lifted everybody in League One, because they realise, yeah, if we play a certain way, a similar way, we might be able to get up there and do a similar job to them. Nothing to be frightened of.
And even beyond that, Norwich blazing a trail all the way up to the Premier League, where they're holding their own. The former Huddersfield player helping them as well, one of the summer departures, Anthony Pilkington. In by Hunt. And Royce Wiggins, something to think about. Decent defending, got his body between man and ball well, didn't he, the former Bournemouth fullback?
It's excellent defending, stayed on his feet, didn't dive in, just gets his body across. They're both at it there a little bit, and just a little shove in the back, the assistant. Flags rightly so.
Royce Wiggins, Danny Hollands in midfield, both Bournemouth players last season, both beaten in the playoff semi-final. A penalty shootout by Huddersfield, and the extra edge was needed to this table-topping clash in League One. Little elements like that. The fact, perhaps, that Huddersfield did the double over Charlton last season still be fresh in some minds. Frenetic was the word you used a moment ago. It's passage of play living up to that. But here's Bradley Wright-Phillips. On his left foot. 40-year-old goalkeeper Ian Bennett could fall and save.
Well, with 14 goals to his name, he's going to be confident. He's onside there. Just gets in that channel, but he's looking up. There's only one red shirt coming to help him. Checks inside. Thinks he's got to go himself, and I quite agree with him there. He has a look up there. Nothing on. One red shirt in there, nothing wrong with him going for it himself. That's the trouble when you've got pace like that. It's sometimes difficult for everybody to keep up behind and get involved.
Yeah, Ephraim's no slouch, and he was left behind, wasn't he? Punching challenge in there by Danny Hollands.
It's all on his stuff, though. He's going to win the ball. He's being moved that quickly, just a little bit late in getting there. And that will happen when you've got two teams who pass it and move it as quickly as these two do.
It's a 250th career appearance this evening for Gary Roberts. He's pretty handy from these set-piece situations. As the targets awaiting him, you just saw. There's a Charlton head that got the telling touch. Another Huddersfield corner.
Yeah, not happy with the assistant there, Hollands. It's a quality ball whipped in. Have they got something to grouse about? No, not for me. Referee in a really good position. Clearly off Holland's head. I don't know what he's moaning about.
Little pack of Huddersfield players in and around the penalty spot. It's back to Scott Arfield. So a cluster of players. It was a relatively comfortable save for Ben Hamer.
There was an apology from the corner taker there. Didn't quite get it right. More behind his teammate than he planned.
Unbeaten records or no unbeaten records, these are the two form sides in the league. Huddersfield 20 points from a possible 24, 6 wins and 2 draws in their recent run. Charlton 19 over the same spell, which does include their only defeat of the season, which came at the hands of Graham Wesley's Stevenage. Stevenage came pretty close as well, didn't they, to ending Huddersfield's run. That was a feisty affair,
to say the least. More so on the touchline than on the pitch. But it's cool, passion. It's nice to see it.
He was playing his cards very close to his chest before last week's game against Notts County. Lee Clark saying the record doesn't mean much. After the game, he was enthusing about his players' contribution in getting it. And it is, some people will say, well, they lost a playoff final in the middle of it. But in pure Football League regular season games, they have gone unbeaten longer than anyone else has. Only side in English football history to last longer, Arsenal's Invincibles. 49 matches, that's the next target for Huddersfield. After tonight, of course.
No sour grapes, but they both played on a lot better pitches than we did when we were playing.
Very much. You might have something to say about it.
Quite a few mud heaps nowadays, you saw in the run-up to the game.
It was at a different level as well, wasn't it, your one?
Yes. We played against that fantastic Liverpool side that had Terry McDermott in its ranks and Kenny Dalglish's.
Roger Rees, the referee tonight. Just as Charlton felt they could close in on goal, felt otherwise.
It's a good job referees have got good fitness levels now, especially in this game so far.
Watched long by Anthony Kay. Woods. Stick with Parkin. Green has it for Charlton. Kermorgant.
I think it shows how good defences are, these two teams. You hardly mentioned Rhodes so far in this first half. Bradley Wright-Phillips had that one opportunity. I think both sets of defenders have started this game particularly well.
Taylor's up there to add a bit of height to this attack. Just wouldn't come down to Hogan Ephraim. And Charlton have a free kick. Chance to test that Huddersfield defence Gary was just talking about.
Referee in a good place again to see this. It's just desire. Just overdoes it a little bit, just a nudge in the back. It's a good point to deliver from this. Good angle. Right footer, just whipping it in.
Stanley Green to take it, and take it well! And Charlton get the touch! Jan Kermorgant opens the scoring for the league leaders.
All about quality of delivery. Said it was a good angle, right footer, whipping it in with pace. He gets the quality spot on, and what a header as well by Kermorgant. Look at the quality, gives everybody the chance to attack it. Doesn't do too much with it, just lets it come on to him. Just flicks it, nothing more. You can sometimes overdo it. Just gets a little touch, enough pace on the ball in, just to deliver it into that bottom corner. Fabulous header, fabulous free kick, quality all round.
Well, in a match that's been tight so far, precious little between the sides, a touch of quality in the delivery and in the finish. First blood to Charlton.
We've seen a lot of quality out there from both teams, but before you have that, you have to get your organisation right, and you have to get the basics right. Both these teams do the basics really well.
Huddersfield have had to come from behind many times in order to preserve their run over the best part of the last year. They've got to do that again here. The ground where Charlton haven't lost this season. Ephraim covering back, gets there ahead of Arfield. Now Wiggins. Oh, good-looking cross in, just over Bradley Wright-Phillips, though.
Tell you what, running at pace like he was there, Wiggins, and delivering that quality is spot on, it really is. Sometimes I don't think players expect it.
Solly gambles, just drops off, and it pays off. Rhodes, Arfield. Forward comes Hunt, and then slides Ephraim.
Again, desire. This first half is written all over it. You mentioned Huddersfield can come back from a goal down. When we were on our run, you thought you were invincible. You could always get back in a game, and that's the belief they have. They don't let it get them down. Look at that so far. Fifth corner for the away team. And they find themselves 1-0 down.
Many of those have been excellent deliveries as well from this fella Roberts, and there's another one.
But the defending from them has been excellent. By Taylor and Morrison back there.
Hunt. Cover there provided by Darryl Russell. Miller.
Well, he's always on the move on that touchline. He's jumping around, he's shouting instructions. You look at Chris Powell, he's very relaxed, very reserved on that touchline. Boring if everybody was the same, wouldn't it?
It's a good double act though, isn't it? Terry McDermott, the experience, and Lee Clark, the young manager, who was coveted by Leicester City to take over there after they disposed of Sven-Göran Eriksson, but decided he wanted to see the job through at Huddersfield.
It's just great to see two young managers out there getting the teams playing like this and getting them set up like this. In the past, you see managers sacked and then get jobs quite easily. The proverbial merry-go-round. It's changed a little bit now in the way of thinking.
Speak about Leicester City. Jan Kermorgant, the man who's got the goal, will forever be down in Leicester folklore for all the wrong reasons. That penalty in the playoff against Cardiff City, which proved so costly for them, has gone out of English football for a bit, come back in with Charlton, started with a flurry of goals. It dried up a bit recently, but that's a really important one. Really important for Charlton. The boys from the back are up here for Huddersfield. Another Roberts delivery.
Not a very good one. Tries to do the right thing again. He tries to get in with pace, quality. This time just overhits it. Well, we just saw that free kick. What about this one from Green? Beautiful delivery, inviting attack, and he just does the right thing here, Kermorgant. Look at that. Just doesn't try and do too much. You try and do too much, it flies over the bar. Just lets it hit him, just cushions it, enough pace on it to do the rest.
Wiggins.
Challenge that may have gone unpunished. Well, both go down. One goes to ground. The other one jumps in a little. There's another one. Dear mate, not that bad.
Hunt's cross. Home off Parkin. Roberts keeps it alive. This is Callum Woods now for Huddersfield. Towards Parkin. That's super defended by Wiggins. Arfield. Solly. Well, he didn't mean to do that, but it's turned out very nicely indeed for Solly. And he's got the free kick as well.
Tell you, with that passage of play alone, listen to the crowd. Just lifts everybody. Yes, he didn't mean it, but his desire after that, just to carry on with what he's doing. He just tries to clear that, but he's got enough about him to carry on. Look, concentrates on the ball. Good first touch. Then the arm comes across. He still keeps going. And look at the desire once he gets past here. You think he's going to lose it? Fabulous stuff.
Russell, here's Wright Phillips, that's a free kick.
Silly there.
Free kick in a moment, first some treatment's going to be required. It's Anthony Kay who's down.
There's the free kick on the edge. It's the last place you want to give a free kick away. Well, half an hour gone, we're not disappointed, are we?
Quite often when you give a match like this a little bit of a pre-match billing, it doesn't live up to it. I don't think that's the case here, is it?
Just look at the way both teams play, the way they pass it, and the movement. It's just a pleasure to watch.
High stakes, high octane, and more often than not pretty high quality as well. And high rewards. Charlton can go clear at the top. Huddersfield can retake second place, closing the gap on the leaders if they can turn this one round. Still about an hour for Huddersfield to get their teeth back into the Addicts.
Looking at Terry McDermott there on the touchline, plenty of experience there. And the first thing he said to me when he saw me in the tunnel, "We beat your record, didn't we?" Straight away. Thanks very much, Tal. Yeah, he was only joking. It's a serious look on his face now. Wealth of experience to give to Lee Clark.
You never lose that competitive streak, don't you?
No, thank goodness. He even remembered the two goals he scored on that day at Anfield, the penalty in. He said, "I scooped the other one in."
At the moment, it's Kermorgant who's threatening to end their run.
It's gone a long way wide. There's the threat of Parkin, just off the outside of the foot. Really going to trouble Hamer.
Talk about the unbeaten run of your old Nottingham Forest side, Gary. Pretty consistent side selection in those days over the 42 games.
Well, you only had 14 or 15 in a squad in those days. Was the difference. I think we played a couple of seasons, 140 odd games in 2 seasons, which was quite a few.
Picked up a few trophies on the way as well.
Yeah, you're involved in everything. It was great to be involved in everything.
Wiggins still with a bit of work to do. Help out his mate and manages to do so. Ephraim. Here's Kermorgant. Wright Phillips on the move. Can he release him? Yes, he can, but offside.
He tried his best to stay onside there. Kermorgant again did well. There you try. Look at him trying to stay onside, just can't do it. Tries his very best. He could have released it a little bit earlier, but give Huddersfield credit there for keeping that line and making it difficult for him to stay onside.
Woods, Roberts. No one's featured in this unbeaten run for Huddersfield more than he has. Parkin. Roberts. Just a little too close to the keeper.
I think got a deflection as well. which didn't help Huddersfield's cause. Looking quite well, just wait for that pass. Stays onside. There's the ball in, there's the deflection. Could have caused Hamer a problem, but fortunate for him, just straight to him. Tell you what, Bill, you used a word or a phrase there, help your mate out. That's what it's all about. That's all football on the pitch is about. You help your mate out. You give him support, you cover round for him. Basics. These teams are doing it really well.
You use the word teams, that's what they are, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's where you give the management staff from both these teams all the credit for creating these two sets of players and how they play.
10 minutes remaining on a fascinating first half here at the Valley. Jan Kermorgant's goal separating the sides. Green was the provider for Kermorgant from a free kick. Here he is sizing up a long throw. Didn't quite catch it as he'd have wanted to. Holland's first on the scene. Carling Cup week for you this week on Sky Sports, and we have a couple of ties live. Arsenal against Manchester City, 7:30 Sky Sports HD2. That's Tuesday night's live game, also available on 3D. And Wednesday night, Manchester United host Championship Crystal Palace. That is 7:30 Sky Sports HD1.
If it stays like this, it goes in 1-0. Lee Clark won't have much to say to his players than, you know, oh, well done. We're goal down maybe, but we're done by quality. Great ball in, terrific improvisation from a striker. You just have to say well done.
Okay, slid in. Little too much in it for Roger Rees, the referee's liking, so it's a Charlton free kick. Well, for everything we've seen, Gary, in this first half so far, there haven't been an awful lot of saves that the keepers have had to make. That's on by Morrison.
Oh, we've seen a lot of decent stuff in between, though, haven't we, between the two penalty boxes. But again, I think that's down to good defending, good protection from midfield.
As far as the two main men, two top scorers in this league, Bradley Wright-Phillips, he's had one effort on goal. Jordan Rhodes, maybe ominously quiet so far from a Charlton point of view.
Well, you say that, I can't remember you mentioning him a great deal in this first half. Parkin's been involved at several occasions, but like you say, always dangerous when you've got that amount of goals. All it needs is one decent delivery or one decent passage of play and he can destroy an opposition.
He's been scoring hat-tricks as well, He's got a couple in his last 5 starts for club. He's also got one for Scotland's under-21s, and now, though he didn't score for them, he did get 5 minutes for Craig Levine's full international side in the friendly win against Cyprus. Here's Callum Woods. Parkin. Judged to be offside.
Oh, that's a position he favours. On the way to that far post where he can come in and attack it. He'll be disappointed with himself. Particular passage of play. Straight offside a little.
Well, there's much to admire and to
It's
excite.
not that bad, Neil.
Unless you're Neil Lennon, of course.
Yeah,
Well, the Celtic manager, I'm sure it's no coincidence that the informed Jordan Rhodes is playing here. The Celtic manager has come to watch him. Here's Solly. Maybe a few others who catch his eye. By the long serving Peter Clark. Well, the last time Charlton lost on this ground was back in April to Huddersfield, 1-0 the scoreline. Green's throw out by Kay, back in by Hollands. Peter Clark rose. Here's Kane.
I like out there at the moment as well. No defenders are taking any chances. It falls in an area where they're not sure. They just clear the lines. A number of times you see centre-halves try and be a little bit clever. Not so far.
And then that, definitely Kermorgant. Distance on the header. He's certainly mobile, both coming back and forward. Young Jack Hunt has been at the club since the age of 9. Roberts.
The work rate for both teams at the moment is exceptional.
Bradley Wright Phillips could be through here. Out comes Bennett. Ephraim! On his full debut for the club, Hogan Ephraim scores a second for Charlton. And Huddersfield with it all to do if they're going to stay unbeaten.
Well, that's all about backing up there. Bradley Wright Phillips does exceptionally well. You think Bennett has come out and snuffed out this danger. That's a quick throw in, they don't pick up particularly well. It's flicked on there to Bradley Wright Phillips. Gets a bit of luck. You think the keeper's dealt with it. Who reacts first? Ephraim. He'll be disappointed, Lee Clark, when he sees the reaction here. Gets a bit of luck there. Keeper does well, but nobody reacts. 3 against 1, and the one comes in and just slots it bottom corner. There, Bennett comes out brave. Only one man reacts quickest. And that's Ephraim, and look at the reaction from Chris Powell and his staff. Delighted. How big a goal is that? Just before half-time. 1-0 would have been good, but 2-0. Fabulous.
Always a good time just before half-time. Charlton, the leaders, making a real statement in this first 41 minutes or so. The only record that they're interested in is going 7 points clear at the top of the League One table, and they're on target for that at the moment.
Well, Lee Clark was not happy about something in the lead-up to the goal. There's high boots there, but both went high. Complaining about which way the throw-in went. The only thing he can complain about there was maybe the height, but both of them were high, so the referee saw parity there.
Wiggins. And if you look back over that 43-game unbeaten run, you have to go to game number 3. For the last time they were 2-0 down and came and recovered the situation. That was against Plymouth, and they came back to win that one. 41 games ago. Well, we were wondering how Charlton were going to cope without Johnny Jackson, who'd really been among the goals before he got injured. His replacement steps up, and some.
He reacted quickest.
There's Ephraim settling for the throw as they double up on him, Huddersfield.
Well, over the past few seasons, we've seen some cracking performances in League One. This is not disappointing either. Top billing and living up to that so far.
Now by Miller. Rhodes on his own. Newcastle's header went straight to Parkin. And that's no-nonsense defending, just of the sort you were talking about.
Nearly came right up to us, that one. We'll do nothing silly now.
Chris Powell had no...
Time.
Sorry, Gary, I was just going to say Chris Powell had no hesitation to give Matt Taylor the armband. So even without it, he's been a leader on the pitch for us since he joined the club from Exeter.
Just shows what a good job they've done at the back there, Taylor and Morrison. Quiet, they've kept Rhodes.
Wiggins. Offside against Kermorgant.
He wasn't convinced. It's just that long direct ball. Yeah, he's off. He's lazy coming back there.
Just another minute for Charlton to see it through. There's two-goal cushion. And Huddersfield start their comeback. Solly gets it out. Here's Woods, brought in the summer from Dunfermline. Gets it into the new boy Parkin. John Parkin trying to manoeuvre a bit of space for himself. Hunt. Ephraim tracks him back, makes it easier for Wiggins to clear it away.
So I love the way players are staying on the feet. They're not diving in. Even in the Premier League, just lately you've seen players lunging in when they've no need to do. So far, these players aren't. They're just staying upright, just timing it really well.
Rhodes.
Well, it's old cliche, the next goal is a very important one.
Huddersfield's record hanging in the balance, put to the sword in the first half by Charlton Athletic, the League One leaders. First it was Jan Kermorgant's excellent header, and then it was Hogan Ephraim on his full debut for the club on loan from Queen's Park Rangers, who doubled the advantage 5 minutes before half-time. No wonder Lee Clark looks unhappy. His side have it all to do to make it game number 44 unbeaten. Half-time, Charlton 2, Huddersfield 0.
And I would imagine the former Charlton manager, Alan Kirbishley, who's alongside me in the studio, is rather happy with what he's seen in that first half, because for the 13th time this season, Charlton lead at half-time in the league. Their 40th and 41st goals of the season means for Lee Clark's side, their unbeaten record is showing some big cracks. Here at the Valley, the League One leaders, Charlton lead by 2-0 at half-time, but Lee Clark, the Huddersfield manager, very unhappy with what he saw in the build-up to the second goal. We're going to look at that in just a moment. I'm in the company of the former Charlton manager, Alan Kirbishley. Alan, 2-0 to the home side. A fair reflection of the first half?
Well, no, I think Huddersfield dominated for large periods of that, certainly with the possession. But, you know, it's been a really professional job from Charlton. They've got behind the ball, they've defended well, and they've broke very quickly. And the 2 goals have come from, well, firstly the set play, but the second one was a quick counter-attack.
And the interesting thing is, despite the scoreline, neither keeper with barely a save to make.
No, it's the same. Huddersfield had a lot of the play. Nice passing, but no cutting edge. And I think Charlton have had the cutting edge with Wright Phillips.
Jan Kermorgant opened the scoring, his 5th goal of the season. How much was this about the delivery? How much about the finish?
Oh, it's a great delivery. And it's there first. If you get the first touch, you've always got a chance. And Kermorgant just helps it on, really. Doesn't get too much power into it, but it's gone to the bottom corner, and Bennett's got no chance. Good delivery, always swinging in towards the keeper. Any slightest of touches takes it in.
And in terms of the free kick that led to that goal, would one describe it as a soft decision?
Well, I think this is probably why Lee Clark's getting a little bit upset. You know, that could have gone either way, I think. The refs decided to give it to Charlton, and they took full advantage.
Ephraim got the second for the home side. Of course, he's on loan from Queen's Park Rangers. He's only made one sub-appearance for them this season, but you wouldn't know it from this.
No, I had him at West. I actually sold him to QPR, Hogan, and very quick and decent player. Charlton react better. I think the Huddersfield players thinking that this is their throw, and it wasn't. And Charlton got on with it, and they never really recovered. This is the throw from Green, hooked on, and once Wright Phillips is one-on-one with Clark, there's only going to be one winner, I felt, and great turn. And when the ball comes out, Hogan gets there first and glides it into the back of the net. Good turn from Wright Phillips. Bennett does well, but Hogan reacts better and gets there first. And, you know, I suppose 2-0 is a bit harsh on Huddersfield, but looking at it from Charlton's perspective, you know, they've done well defensively and broke very, very quickly. That's been a feature of their game, I think, counter-attacking.
But as we saw from Lee Clark in those shots of the tunnel just before half-time, he's clearly unhappy. What do you think he's unhappy about? Is it about this challenge or the throw-in that wasn't given that you mentioned?
I think it's a foul. I think he thinks that's a foul. I think Green's foot has hit the Huddersfield player. The Huddersfield player hooks it out for the throw-on, but then I think the follow-through from Green has caught the player. And I think the Huddersfield players are waiting for the foul to be given. Green runs to the ball, picks it up, realises it's the Charlton throw and throws it very quickly. And as I said, I don't think Huddersfield really recovered.
What does Lee Clark do then in the second half? Because the more men they throw forward, the more the likes of Bradley Wright Phillips come into the game.
They're dangerous on the counter-attack, so I think Charlton, he's got to give it 10 minutes, Lee Clark, before he decides to make any changes. Try to keep it a 2-0 or perhaps get back in the game and then go for it. I mean, there's nothing much to lose now, 2-0. And it's a difficult scoreline for some teams, leading 2-0 at half-time. You know, don't know whether to sit on the lead or go for it a little bit more. So the first 10 or 15 minutes, I think, Huddersfield have got to get back in the game.
But I imagine for Chris Powell at half-time, it has been to his players very much more of the same, because as things stand, Lee Clark's unbeaten record is under severe threat here at the Valley. But for Chris Powell, his side are looking like they're heading 7 points clear at the top. It is the quarter-finals of the Carling Cup this week. What a game to look forward to tomorrow. It's Arsenal against Manchester City from 7:30, Sky Sports HD1, and also available in Sky 3D. Barcelona find themselves 6 points behind Real Madrid. Rayo Vallecano is the game they have next from 10 p.m. tomorrow, Sky Sports HD1. And looking ahead to Wednesday's quarter-final, Manchester United take on Crystal Palace from 7:30, Sky Sports HD1. Here at the Valley, the League One leaders lead unbeaten Huddersfield 2-0.
Green to take it, and take it well! And Charlton get the touch! Jan Kermorgant opens the scoring for the league leaders. Bradley Wright Phillips could be through here. Out comes Bennett. Ephraim! On his full debut for the club.
And Lee Clark will know that 43-match unbeaten record is facing his sternest test here tonight. I mean, Jordan Rhodes makes his 100th career appearance for Huddersfield tonight. Alan, how does he get more of him in the second half? Because he's not featured much, has he?
No, him and Parkin. You know, although they've had a lot of possession, Huddersfield have not managed to feed them too many balls. Charlton have done very well in that area. So I think Lee Clark will be hoping something happens for him in the first 10 or 15 minutes. If not, then I think you will see quite a few changes and hoping they can get back in the game.
13 goals from Rhodes of the league so far this season. Bradley Wright Phillips, one ahead, the top scorer in all 4 divisions of the English Football League. Let's return to your commentators and Gary Birtles, and first Bill Leslie.
Lee Clark, Terry McDermott and Huddersfield 2 down, 2 half-time changes. Anton Robinson comes on into the midfield. And who started in this part of the world with Millwall. Danny Ward is also introduced for this second half. Gary Roberts making way. Charlton make a change themselves. Darryl Russell on loan from Preston. His debut for the club's only lasted 1 half. He's picked up a calf strain, so Andy Hughes, the man he replaced, will come on and replace him. Winning is a habit for Charlton Athletic. They haven't lost here since April, when Huddersfield got the better of them, part of the double that they got against the Addicts last season. They've built up some healthy habits this year as well. They've been leading at half-time in 12 matches. That's the highest in this league. They've gone on to win 10. they haven't yet had a half-time lead overturned. So 2 changes, Gary, for Huddersfield. I think we're going to see a change of approach in terms of formation.
It'll be interesting to see. Surprised it's come so early. Unless there are injury problems or worries about certain situations that you saw in the first half.
Robinson getting involved straight away. I think it's just going to be a talking to from Roger Rees, the referee.
He's eager to make a point early on, wants to get his first tackle right. And Green gets there before him. Not up with the pace, obviously.
Floated forward by Solly. Hughes. Well, we can confirm for you that both changes for Huddersfield are tactical ones. We said it just before the break, Gary, and it's worth going over again, but the next goal is going to shape this match completely.
You would think so, because it gives the away team a massive lift.
Launched one by Green, it's a free header, very nearly into the top corner. Well, Green got some superb distance on that throw.
What a header.
And they just weren't ready for it. I think it was Jan Kermorgant again who got the final touch for Charlton.
What a header, but what poor marking this is. Long throw. Look how much time and space he's got. Beats the keeper, all ends up, and that's a long way out to generate that power up and over. And they're just so unfortunate. It's just not a tap in for somebody.
On by Ward. Rhodes parking. Jordan Rhodes. They've got to find a way of getting into the game a little bit more in this second half.
It just tells you how well Charlton have done as a unit at the back to deny him time, space, or any sort of chance. Well, he plays for it, just leans into him. Referee in a good position. Little option but to give it.
We'll find out here what Danny Wall can bring to the party in terms of delivery. Charlton defend it rather better than Huddersfield did from a similar position in the first half. Touch off Kermorgant, needs some defending. Taylor, it's going to be a corner.
It's been the main difference of way Charlton have handled the delivery from Huddersfield, which has been pretty good, you have to say.
In front of their travelling fans, and there's a healthy band of them in the Jimmy Seed stand. Ward will take Huddersfield's corner. Excellent delivery, can they bundle it in? No way through to goal for Jordan Rhodes, but another corner for Huddersfield.
It's almost slow motion. Again, look at the quality. So difficult for a keeper to come and get in. He misses it totally, and there everything stopped for him. You think the referee's blown up, but he hadn't. There, it just bounces high, just doesn't sneak in again. There's a lot of red shirts around there to block that. Good defending again at the end.
Ward delivers again. I think it may have swung out of play and back in.
You see the difficulty when the ball is delivered with quality. Goalkeeper tries to come nowhere near it. Maybe a hint of a touch on the hand there, but he must have been panicking there, Hamer, when he misses that. And just a number of red shirts block that effort in the end.
Well, Lee Clark would have demanded a response. The signs are there that he's maybe going to get one sooner rather than later.
He obviously felt the need to introduce a couple of substitutions and see if it makes an impact early in this second half. He needs to get supply to the two boys up front because they've been starved. have got quality in wide areas, Huddersfield. To be fair, they've delivered decent stuff from set pieces, but it's just been that good a defending from Charlton.
Right, Phillips. I think that Hogan Ephraim could do that, to hold on to it. Ward. Taken off the toes of Arfield by Parkin. And a little higher up the pitch than that.
The referee might give a free kick there, but didn't. Parkin not happy. Gets it stuck between his feet there. Just can't get it away. It's not a foul for me. He gets a foot on that.
Right, Phillips. It's turned out nicely for Green. Takes it early.
I'll tell you what, fair play. When I saw him wind up there, I looked around the park and no red shirt near him. Why not just try and get the keeper nap in there, see what he's made of? And fortunately for Bennett, went straight at him.
It's a little flick on by Kermorgant. Now comes the experienced Bennett. Very much the #1 these days. England's under-21 goalkeeper for Huddersfield, Alex Smith. He's still sidelined by that injury he picked up on international duty towards the end of last season. So youth very much replaced by experience in the Huddersfield goal.
Parkin not happy again. Feels he was fouled a couple of minutes ago. Feels this time that he's been harshly treated. He's straight in the back of him, clearly a foul. But you always deny you've committed one.
Collision of players, and the referee felt that as the blue and white striped one and impeded Kermorgant.
Well, Lee Clark livid again with that decision. He feels it's a coming together. There was definitely an arm. There's an arm on Kermorgant on the back. Second one there, but I think he started it. 6 and 2 threes with the referee. Saw the 2 blue and white stripes against the 1 red, and saw it as a free kick for Charlton.
This is in a super situation for a crack on Ian Bennett's goal. Kermorgant and Holland, the 2 standing over it. Kermorgant!
Oh, he's flying, isn't he? Bennett make a save again. Do a lot more than that. Brings it round the wall with power and pace. Right around it. Bending all the time. Does well, Bennett sees it late and just parries it to safety.
Huddersfield didn't deal with the last long throw at all well. Charlton mix it up. Green with time to get some real action on the ball. Parkin back to get it out, showing the defensive side of his game.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's where he helps out as well in a big way.
Morrison and Taylor have come forward for this one. A chance in front of the tunnel for a long run up and a long throw. It's over Morrison and Kermorgant and everyone else for that matter, before Parkin thunders it away. Morrison stayed forward. And Peter Clark wins through for Huddersfield. Helped on by Parkin. Now Ward, the half-time substitute. Holding off Hollands.
took a long time to get back, Morrison, but he was effective when he finally did get there. Stayed up for the set piece.
Ward. Still a young man, but a big money signing, £1 million signing from Bolton Wanderers. Here's Bradley Wright-Phillips. Improvisation to try and keep it alive. Woods, Ward, Damian Johnson, fought by Hollands, late challenge by Robinson, he'd probably pick up a yellow for that, but here comes Hollands now for Charlton. Loses out.
Really to play it to there. Into a dead end, and he's saying, why don't you make a bit of movement for me? Referee not having a word.
Well, given that Anton Robinson made a challenge seconds after he was introduced at half-time that could have been a yellow card, and then made that one, surprised that he did avoid a booking.
You just go back to Balotelli yesterday, don't you? Was he on 16, 17 minutes? 2 yellow cards and off.
Doesn't come with quite the reputation, though, does he, Anton Robinson?
No, with the same sort of situation. One referee decides to give 2 yellows, that referee doesn't give him a yellow at all.
In by Hunt, might come through to Ward. No handball given. Danny Ward. Here we go. Finally, there is a yellow card for Anton Robinson.
Well, he kept talking to him, the referee, before it happens. There, clearly catches him. Oh, he really does catch him as well. So clearly a yellow card. Just waited for the ball to go out of play, and then he was in the yellow card.
Rhodes to keep it alive. Keeper caught in no man's land and parking when it wouldn't fall for him. Off a Charlton boot. Huddersfield corner.
Saw Hamer 5 or so minutes ago, taken out of the corner. Comes in here, goes for it again, doesn't get anywhere near it, and again, just rides his luck a little bit.
It's better from Huddersfield as they seek a way back into the match. Peter Clark couldn't keep it down.
Oh, they're knocking on the door. Again, you have to applaud the delivery from both these teams. From set pieces. It's fizzed in again. Just a little bit too high for Clark. Get over the top of it. It's a long way to come down from Huddersfield, a long trip down, but a few have made it and trying to make as much noise to encourage their team back in.
Gone by Hughes. Well, there is a school of thought that says that the distraction of this unbeaten record might just be holding Huddersfield back a little bit. Maybe we're going to find out. As at the moment, the unbeaten run is coming to an end here in southeast London. Just over half an hour for them to keep it going.
They haven't played that badly, Huddersfield, you have to say.
So far as well, Charlton haven't really put a foot wrong at the back. Huddersfield will feel that they'll get one opening, maybe a little half chance that informed Jordan Rhodes can pounce on. And then suddenly the complexion of the match changes completely. It's right back in the balance.
We've seen a couple of moments, haven't we, with Hamer? Just missed the corner, and that one just a minute ago where he got a bit of luck.
Well, for all Charlton's success here, and they're unbeaten here this season, of course, their only defeat coming away from home at Stevenage They have been conceding, and they've also been scoring. They're having another long-range effort there. It's out by Jack Hunt. And here's Anthony Kay. There's a little slip from Wiggins. Parkin has Ward to one side. Ward! And it glances off the crossbar. He got plenty behind that.
Well, I'm not sure he meant that as a shot. I'm sure that was a cross, and that's why Hamer is having that little smile. He's just trying to put it in, and look at the pace and the movement in that. He tries to get his foot wrapped around it. In the end, it just goes direct, moves, dips, but not quite enough.
Quite extraordinary from Danny Ward.
Love the look from Hamer there. Did you mean that? I'm sure you didn't.
Put it this way, I'm sure if he tried it again, it wouldn't go quite like that.
No chance.
Free kick, Huddersfield. A bit of shirt pulling there on John Parkin. Well, he'll lose some decisions. He'll win some as well.
Yeah, that sort of a player. He's trying to back in all the time. Trying to win free kicks for his team. Well, we saw Green put a cracker in from the other side for the goal in the first half. Similar sort of area on that side.
Decent ball by Ward. Parkin was in there. It's loose. Rhodes couldn't do anything with it.
Again, it's a cracking delivery. It really is, and it causes quite a bit of confusion in that box. Just not getting the bounces, are they, Huddersfield at the moment?
Well, they'll keep on knocking, and eventually there may be a way in. Roy Phillips playing on the shoulder so effectively. Charlton play on the counter. Solly. Green providing a bit of width. Solly on the overlap.
Try and calm it down a little bit, Joel, and take the sting out of it a bit, because Huddersfield are just getting a foothold in this game now and creating a few little moments of panic for Charlton.
Mentioned by Green again. Kermorgant looking for the touch. Hughes. Parkin now for Huddersfield. Couldn't get a foot on it. Holland's got a toe in. Swept on by Rhodes. Andy Hughes has backed out of cover. The momentum in the match has ebbed and flowed. The tempo in the match has barely dipped from start to finish.
Great fitness levels. Can they keep it going to the end? You'd like to think they will.
And you don't go 43 league games unbeaten unless you do go to the end.
Spot on.
.34 goals in their last 15 games, Huddersfield.
Here's again, there's a shove in the back. Sometimes you see them given. Didn't really make a meal of it, did he? Had he gone down, might have been different. That long throw is causing problems.
Green. He's certainly causing problems, seeking the corner.
He's certainly got great confidence in his own ability to strike the ball. Saw the one in the first half from distance. Sorry, it was the second half, wasn't it, where he tested Bennett out from a long way. Backed himself again on that occasion.
As I was just mentioning, Gary, they score goals. It's what they deal in Huddersfield. They're right up at the top of the scoring charts, average more than 2 a game.
Yeah, but to score goals, you have to get your main protagonists involved, and unfortunately, Rhodes has not had a sniff, neither has Parkin, really.
back with interest, serious interest by Taylor.
Too long, too direct there. Sometimes you can overplay it towards somebody like Parkin, because you know he's a great outlet, he'll win his fair share. And Huddersfield have got more ways of breaking teams down.
Well, it's a different player in there they've got up alongside Jordan Rhodes, but a similar sort of player in that Alan Lee's suspension and John Parkin's arrival. Still a big man, little man, if you like.
Yeah, but you have to say again, we've said it a few times, Charlton have dealt with it admirably. Morrison and Taylor have been outstanding.
Taylor comes and claims.
Nearly came a long way. All it needed was a little touch by a Huddersfield player there, and he could have been in trouble.
Ward, who has made a difference, hasn't he, in the second half. Rhodes doesn't need a second invitation to make a difference if he gets the chance. And yet again, he's denied one. Johnson trying to burrow through. Ward off target.
You saw it open up for him there. Just overstretching here a little bit when he hits it. A little bit of interplay. Just bounces out to him there. Just overstretching a little bit. Just drags across it. He knows what a decent little opening that was. And look at the attempts. Only one in it, but on target. Charlton well in front. That's the difference. Huddersfield haven't got their two strikers in positions to hurt Charlton.
Charlton's two goals both came in the second half of the first half. Here we are now approaching the second half of the second. Still, Huddersfield haven't been able to get their way back into the game. Green. The threat is omnipresent. And Charlton getting a third to kill it off.
Well, he's been an inspiration, hasn't he, Green? A lot of what's been good from Charlton has come through him. Deliveries from set pieces, the long throw, shooting from distance.
There's Green, another excellent delivery towards Morrison. Back in by Taylor, appeal for handball, no penalty. Waved away straight away by Roger East.
You have to shout for them. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
By Hughes.
Here we see the captain flick it back in straight into his midriff. Have to appeal, but the referee's in a good position.
Green. Solly. Clark's header. There's a red shirt first to it, that of Hughes. Kermorgant seeking Bradley Wright Phillips.
I don't think he thought he was going to get a sniff of that. He thought the defender was going to deal with it.
Did bounce into him off Anthony Kay, didn't it? But even so, it's enough for Huddersfield's hearts to be in their mouths momentarily.
That's the position he took up, though. You're right, Phillips.
When you talk, Gary, about the contribution of Danny Green, his is a wonderful story, isn't it? Non-league football, signed from Billericay by Dagenham and Redbridge, integral part of the side that got them up into League One through the playoffs a couple of seasons back. He's come to Charlton and he's stepped up again.
Well, I know from first hand, coming from non-league, you give him the chance, you're desperate to take it, and he's certainly doing that. He's shone brightly tonight. Some fantastic challenges.
Jordan Rhodes might be a sniff of a chance here. Tigerish stuff by Wiggins. In by Hunt. Hamer can claim on his line.
See what some cracking challenges flying in. It really is fantastic effort and desire out there this evening. Quite comfortable for the referee as well, because they're two teams who just want to get it and down and play, pass. Yes, sometimes you're going to get it slightly wrong, but
a little slow out from the blocks there, Bennett.
Certainly was on the back foot. I'm sure all the other teams around the top six would have preferred a draw here. Still might happen.
Sheffield Wednesday might be pleased, because as it stands they'll stay in second place. Not a bad weekend for the sides who are chasing Huddersfield down as well. The likes of MK Dons winning, closing the gap a little. So if there is to be one that runs away, and at the moment Charlton are going 7 clear at the top, at least it brings the others back into the pack a bit.
Long way to go. See why Charlton are where they are at the moment, the way they've approached this game. Organisation is fantastic.
Ward. Jordan Rhodes. The defenders have been pretty good, and the midfielders in front of them. Hughes in this second half, and Danny Hollands as well. Shielded and frustrated. Huddersfield desire to keep this run going.
It's the tenacity Charlton have shown. Closing down skills of the whole team.
Clark knew he was going to have to dig deep into his reserves to get there and elude Bradley Wright-Phillips, but that's exactly what he was able to do. Jack Hunt. A touch from Arfield. Solly. And Johnson, former Northern Ireland international. Robinson. By Hollands, free kick for Huddersfield.
See many of those in this game so far. Just a bit of a tired one, that. Not surprised with the way these two teams have gone at it.
Sir Patrick Stewart, aka Jean-Luc Picard, here watching tonight.
Oh, not a lot of people knew that he was a Huddersfield fan. Do now.
Here's Hunt. Something a Huddersfield player might win one battle, but there's another one straight away. Arfield. Wiggins, free kick.
Still they're going at it, hammer and tong. Closing down from both sets of players has been good. Challenges have not been that bad either, been very few mistimed.
Kermorgant.
I have to say both sets of performances could have come out the same coaching manual, couldn't they? The way they've gone about the game. Organisational skills, desire, ability.
And neither set of players will come off the pitch wondering what if either.
Not a chance. I don't think Lee Clark will be happy with the second goal. Not just for the reasons we showed at half-time when it was slowed right down. You could see there was a touch by Green, but at full pace, so difficult. Both were high, but it was the lack of reaction when Bennett had made the save. Allowed Ephraim to place it into the bottom corner. That was disappointing.
Johnson. A bit of time on the ball to run at the heart of the Charlton defence. Nothing sticking with Jordan Rhodes. Hunt in. Over Rhodes. Park in! And saved onto the post. Well, maybe it's just not their night. The second time in this second half that the woodworkers come to Charlton's rescue.
Well, he's a big man and he gets down a little bit late, but does his best to keep that out. Great control from Parkin, bounces in front of Hamer, and he does exceptionally well to keep that out.
Parkin's in the mix again, but Hamer makes no mistake this time.
It's difficult for big tall keepers to get down quickly. He just gets there a little bit late, but does enough. Look at that. It's a very difficult bounce in front of him, and he deals with it very well in the end. Well, there we see Huddersfield really knocking on the door. These last 5 minutes, well on top. There's going to be a point where you thought that might happen, and coming towards the end of the game, last 15 or so.
As you mentioned already, Gary, both sides, particularly Charlton, have invested an awful lot of effort in getting the match to where it is poised at the moment inside the last quarter of an hour. December the 28th, 2010 at St Mary's Stadium, the last time Huddersfield Town lost a league match. We are now nearly 12 months on, and they're staring down the barrel again.
There's a bit of irony about this. If they lose 2-0 to the team at the top of the division, as we did to Liverpool all those years ago when ours came to an end.
Looking for a break.
Well, the pressure's intense now. At the moment, Charlton dealing with it. Wiggins slices it over his own bar. Well, look at that. Not a corner for the home team. That is bizarre. 2-0 up, not one corner.
They're yet to make one count. Can that change here? In by Ward. Hamer threw himself at it, didn't get anything on it.
Well, he backs himself, doesn't he?
Hunt to hit the front early. Robinson.
Well, again, either side of Hamer, he got a chance. Straight at him. They don't deal with that one particularly well, Charlton. It's a shot away and looks straight at the goalkeeper.
Our next action live from the Football League, not too far from here, across South London at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace derby live Friday night, 7:30, Sky Sports HD1. Arfield for Huddersfield. Parkin.
He's been one of the two strikers who's looked more like, and more's come through Parkin than it has come through Rhodes.
Turned out to be a good one as Parkin tries to lay it in for the fullback Hunt.
Yeah, time to turn there.
It's the one change made by Charlton so far. And that was enforced by injury to Darryl Russell on his debut. Huddersfield still have one left in the tank.
Well, fans love it when the referee falls over. He totally obliges.
Morrison.
Decent in the air. Kermorgant.
There's this fella, Parkin, using his strength well.
Maybe picked the wrong option from that angle and that distance. There's got to be some comeback now into the last 10 minutes.
Clark. Parkin. There's Callum Woods. Hamer patrolling and controlling his penalty area.
He makes his mind up early to come for that. Defenders like that, and they've got a keeper behind them who will make his mind up quickly, take the pressure off them.
He's got 5 clean sheets so far this season, Ben Hamer. It's been a regular since Rob Elliott left towards the end of the August transfer window to go and ply his trade up in the northeast at Newcastle. But 3 of those clean sheets have come in the last 5 games. You can tell he's a goalkeeper who's got a little bit of confidence behind him. A little bit of luck tonight as well.
Yeah, you need that as a goalkeeper also.
No free kick. Kermorgant gambling, running in behind, but Clark ensured that there was no return.
Good enough on it.
Clark hits the target. There's Hughes providing the shield. Morrison didn't get it away. Hollands did. What a lovely touch that is by Bradley Wright-Phillips. Wright-Phillips.
Ghosted past his man there.
Rhodes. Here's Ward. Charlton so well organised at the back, so many back. Ward to ask questions of Solly.
I'll tell you what, he sticks to his task so well, Solly. Good second favourite there, but he kept on with his body across and gets it clear.
Substitution for the Alex. Please show your appreciation to number 39, Hogan Ephraim.
Well, a very rewarding debut for Hogan Ephraim.
Well, not just his goal, his work rate. To be in this team, you have to share that responsibility, and they've done that exceptionally well. Charlton this evening.
Replacing him, please welcome.
Well, hasn't played a lot of first-team football. You can understand him not lasting the course. Scott Wagstaff will only help enhance the counter-attacking options Charlton look to. Here he is now on the ball. Important that he's cut off at source and doesn't build up ahead of steam. He's pacey. Clark. Huddersfield have got to make it happen soon, very soon.
Here he comes again. Simple claim this time. Charlton will be looking for Wagstaff to carry the ball distances. He's taking away from danger. Try and create something if he possibly can at the other end.
I suppose, Gary, when you look at a game like this, and for large swathes of it, there hasn't been an awful lot between the sides. Luck, you could say, decisions, you could say, slightly against Huddersfield at times. It puts into perspective how impressive a 43-match unbeaten league run is.
Without a doubt, you have to say both teams have put everything they possibly can into this.
And here's Rhodes, Arfield. Hunt. And look at Green covering back, helping out, snuffing out.
The basics have been done brilliantly by both teams. I just think the defending by Charlton when it's come in the box has been a little bit better than Huddersfield. so many times. How many have seen now go straight through to Hamer? Not disappoint, Lee Clark.
Two away matches since those travelling Huddersfield fans last felt what it was like to lose a league game. They're starting to reacquaint themselves with that feeling. 5 minutes away, plus added time. Arfield, wayward.
No disrespect to lose if they're going to a team like Charlton. What we've seen this evening. That's probably the worst one. It looked worse than it was. He is a target because of his ability. Right, Phillips, such. And then there's a dive in there. He gets the ball, but he's off the floor near enough.
Johnson, Ward, lovely improvisation to keep the run alive. Got fresh legs in Wagstaff up against him. Robinson couldn't find a teammate. He's found Green. Right, Phillips. Wagstaff. Lovely ball for Charlton to attack. Now it was Hollands who got the final touch.
Flew himself into that, didn't he? Decent delivery yet again. Look at the desire to get on the end of it. Good defending, but bravery from Hollands.
And Hollands' touch cleared away. This is exactly where Charlton will want to see out the remaining minutes, or as much of it as possible. So much of the talk pre-match about Huddersfield's record, understandably, whether that would continue here. What Chris Powell was interested in was his own side's record, his own side's progression, push for promotion. And that has been kept right on track. Open up a little bridgehead at the top, 7 points. Morrison.
That's all they need to do. Free kicks, just take the heat out of the last few minutes.
Thoroughly professional job by Charlton Athletics so far, and they're nearly there.
When you see teams quite away in front just before Christmas, you wonder why, and I think we've seen why this evening. No disrespect to Huddersfield either. They'll be there and thereabouts without a doubt. And this is why he's lying on the floor. Gets caught and then falls funny as well.
He's had a super evening, Kermorgant, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So saying much maligned when he was at Leicester City. Didn't really get a chance for a run in the side, but it was always felt that he was a talent who would come good. Chris Powell, of course, knew him because he was on the coaching staff at Leicester City, brought him in here. And we've seen what he's all about. Industry and accuracy as well. His header was a super one. At the end of Green's free kick in the first half and set Charlton on the way.
It's not just that, he's been good in the air generally. Saw the one there, header onto the bar, but this is his goal. How he just, his head goes down, just does he enough just to direct it goalwards with the power that's coming into the box from the free kick. Just lets it come on to him. Another good sign. Just hope it's not needed.
Johnny Jackson, the captain, stricken, and Chris Powell unable to put any date on whether he would be returning sooner or later. It's Paul Hayes, very experienced at this level and indeed at higher levels than this in the Championship. But seen himself lose his place in recent weeks to the man who's departing on a stretcher.
Not a bad replacement, sad sight that. Not as bad as it looks for him.
Please show your appreciation to number 36, Kermorgant. And replacing him, please welcome number
Paul
9,
Hayes
Paul Hayes.
comes on for these 4 added minutes.
I just feel the way Huddersfield have played themselves, they'd have probably beat anybody else on the night, the way they've gone about the business, but they've just come up against a team at the top who matched them and done a little bit more.
Charlton came into this with momentum, although their unbeaten run not as long as their visitors. This is now the 6th successive league win that they are closing in on. You never know, might just do Huddersfield a favour, although they'd like to have continued and maybe made inroads towards Arsenal's all-time unbeaten run of 49 that was ended at Old Trafford a few years back. They have the record in the Football League now, and now they can get on with moving up the Football League, perhaps. Another header by Morrison. It's fizzed wide by Johnson, deflection.
Charlton didn't think so. It's launched into the box, which is all they can do now. Header's won there. It's only a minute deflection, if anything.
Yet another Huddersfield corner. Ward to take, Heyman trying to get there, he does get enough on it, Johnson!
Yeah, it's a good effort. Again, it's a good quality ball that Heyman deals with reasonably well. It's been a standout thing, the quality from set pieces, the concentration was shown putting them in there. There's the volley, it's over, but not a bad effort. They've not been trying to get it too precise, as a lot of people do from set pieces. They've put it in the area where it can be attacked.
Ward gets it in, Hughes gets it out for Charlton. Woods.
I wonder how many games Rhodes has been involved in where he's not even had an attempt. It just shows you that people realise what a big threat he is and that he needs to be really looked after on a pitch, and I think the two centre-halves, Morrison and Taylor, have done that brilliantly.
They've had some tough times over recent seasons. They're not the only ones, of course, the Charlton fans, but as they've slid down from their established place in the Premier League down to this, the 3rd tier, it's been depressing momentum in one direction, but these are much happier times at the Valley. Moving in the right direction under the exciting management, effective management of Chris Powell.
The squad looks a deeper one, doesn't it now? Some good options.
Also footing by Woods. Well, Lee Clark and Huddersfield have made history, but now that unbeaten run is history. Beaten for the first time in 11 months by the League One leaders, Charlton Athletic. Chris Powell's side have ended that run. They've also extended their own winning run. It's 6 wins in a row for them now, and they move 7 clear of the nearest competition at the top of the League One table. The damage done in the first half. Jan Kermorgant, who unfortunately left at the end on a stretcher, scored the first goal. And Ephraim, on his debut on loan from Queen's Park Rangers, his first start for Charlton, he fired in the second. Huddersfield knocked. They tried to keep that unbeaten record going, but they came up against some superb defending from Charlton Athletic, who showed exactly why they are in pole position at the top of League One. Time to get some reaction. Let's hear from Matt Taylor, who's with Patrick Davidson.
Matt, just how big a win is that for you?
I think it's probably a massive win, to be honest with you. You know, they're a great team, you know, full credit to them. You know, go all that spell unbeaten, but, you know, a lot of talk has been about them and their record, but we've quietly been getting on with it, you know, and I think we're, you know, 8 points clear now, and it's a fantastic start, but that's all it is, a start to the season.
Honestly, how big a motivation was it, the chance to end their run?
It's always a big motivation, but we don't think about it as players. We just want to win every game, you know. We've got an honest set of lads. You know, we work hard all week, and, you know, it's paying off at the moment, but it's only through hard work.
Danny, let's bring you in. You said in the programme today you enjoy creating more than scoring sometimes, so I imagine you enjoyed both goals today.
Yeah, well, that's what I get paid for. I get paid to set up chances and create goals, so yeah, I enjoy it, yeah.
You enjoy being part of this Charlton side. You were released when you were here as a boy and you've had to drop down to non-league, so how special is it to you right now?
Yeah, it's very special. As soon as I knew Charlton were interested in the summer, it's the only place I wanted to come. We've got a great set of lads here, great leaders all round, like this big man here. We've got Johnny Jackson behind the scenes as well, who's injured today, but brilliant, everyone leads, and yeah, we're all really enjoying playing together, and we've got a good team here.
Danny says you're a leader. How hard did they work you, Huddersfield, today?
They worked us out very hard, you know. Without doubt, we're one of the best teams in this league, so it's full credit to them. But that shows what we're about, you know, to keep a clean sheet against, you know. We all know Jordan Rhodes' record, he's a class act, and obviously got a big part up front, so they put us under pressure, but I think we limited them to half chances, to be honest with you, and when they did get a chance, the keeper came for us.
Well, you're the umpire man of the match. Danny, will you do the honours for us, please?
Yeah, Matthew Taylor alongside Michael Morrison barely gave Jordan Rhodes a sniff tonight. It was the kind of performance that epitomised Charlton this evening. A team performance from 1 right through to 11. They weren't so concerned about Huddersfield's unbeaten record and ending it. They were more concerned about this, increasing the lead at the top of Power League One. It's now 7 points. They're 8 points clear of third place Huddersfield, who miss out on the chance on closing the gap. But the unbeaten record has gone. And now for Lee Clark's side, it's all about concentrating on keeping that promotion push going. We have more action from the Football League coming this Friday. We're back in the Empire Championship. We're at Selhurst Park for Crystal Palace against Derby. That's from 7:30 on Sky Sports HD1. The former Charlton manager Alan Kirbishley is alongside me. We'll get his take on what has been a very impressive night for Charlton. They put an end to Huddersfield's unbeaten record. They're 7 clear at the top. And for Lee Clark, plenty to ponder as they move forward. The League One leaders, Charlton, came up against the Huddersfield side. They were unbeaten in 43 games. So it was Charlton who asked all the questions right throughout. Jan Kermorgant with his 5th goal of the season. Bradley Wright-Phillips always a threat for the home side, allowing Ephraim to get in and score. His goal, which was a 2-0 win for Charlton, and delight for Chris Powell. And Alan Kirbishley is alongside me. From that celebration, what does that mean for the club? What does that mean for Chris Powell?
Well, I think the captain was right, Matt Taylor, when he said that it wasn't so much beating Huddersfield, it was creating that gap between top and third spot. And I think he absolutely got it right, and I think they got it right tonight. As a side, they soaked up a lot of pressure, done it fantastically well organised defensively, and broke and counter-attacked whenever they could and got their rewards.
Way too early to say it's a game that was season-deciding, but was it season-defining?
No, there's too much football to play and too many things to happen. Charlton are having a fantastic time as well at the moment. Was that six
wins in a row?
Yeah. And they're going to go through a sticky patch. And I think Huddersfield showed why they've been so successful, because they did give it a right go, didn't they? And just need a little bit of luck, something to go their way. Wasn't to happen. And Charlton came out on top.
And when you look at players 1 through to 11 tonight, barely anyone on the home side gave a bad performance. Jan Kermorgant in with the first goal of the game. And I guess his performance, along with others, epitomised what this Charlton side's all about.
Great free kick from Green, right in the danger area. And he got the first touch, Kermorgant. And if you do get the first touch with that sort of delivery and you get it on target, then it's very difficult. And Bennett didn't really have any chance of saving that once he got his head on it. it was a great start for Charlton because Huddersfield lost the possession, but never really fashioned any chances in that first half. And yeah, the game was won in that first half. Certainly the first goal was very important.
But Huddersfield unhappy that the free kick was given in the first place. Have they got a point?
They have, because I think, well, that's the free kick. That's the foul for the first free kick, and it was a bit soft, wasn't it? And I think they was disappointed with that, but I was even more disappointed with the second free kick, the second decision that went against them.
Yeah, Hogan Ephraim getting the second goal. Well, look at the incident that led up to that at the moment. Really annoyed Lee Clark. This was it here. I mean, he was furious at half-time. What was your reading of why he was furious?
Because I think he and the Huddersfield players think that's a foul. Although the Huddersfield players booked it out for the throw, I think they think that's a foul on their player, and they switched off. And Charlton got going. Green actually picked up and threw it in very quickly. He took on, and Wright Phillips was dangerous all night in these positions, one-on-one. Got away from Clark, and Ephraim came in and finished it off. And it started from the throw. They never reacted to the throw being given to Charlton. Charlton were much more alive and got their rewards because of that.
So all of which means that for Huddersfield, the unbeaten run is over. It was 43 coming into this. I wonder how Lee Clark is feeling right now. He's with Patrick Davison.
Well, Lee, finally you have been beaten. What cost you tonight?
Our first half performance. Overall, the whole aspect. We started the game quite well, first 10 minutes, but it didn't look like there was any belief there. There was no urgency. We give 2 poor goals away. And, you know, went out with a wimp in the first half. Second half, at least they tried to give it a right good go, had opportunities, caused them problems. But, you know, we'd done the damage in the first half with our performance then.
With the run you're on, why would there be no belief?
I'm not sure it's no belief, but, you know, you've got to be positive on the front foot and, you know, do things as if you mean it, like, i.e. crossing, set plays, shots, passing. You know, made bad decisions where and when to pass, and we just kept giving the ball away. Our passing tonight wasn't of the highest quality at all.
Any complaints about the 2 goals that looked like they might have been?
The second one, the referee's pointing for a throw in our way, and then the linesman gives it the other way. So, no, with the first one, maybe we've got done wrong side. So, but I just think the decision to give the throw. But we should be then switched on once it's gone against you.
What's the next thing then? Start another unbeaten run?
Of course it is. Yeah. Let's see what we're about now. We've had a setback. We've got to bounce back. It's a bigger setback. It's because it's against one of our rivals, who are deservedly at the top of the league. But we have to kick on again. We've got a long way till the next game against Bournemouth, but we've got to prepare, get our heads down and go again.
I must just ask you about something that makes this pale into insignificance, the loss of Gary Speed yesterday. How saddened and shocked were you by the news?
I'm still saddened, I'm still shocked. For whatever everyone thinks of him as a player, and he was a fantastic player, times that by about 1 million and you'll get the man as well. He was a fantastic person. As you rightly said, I wanted to win this game. And I'm upset for the people at the football club and the fans, but you know what's happened over the last 36 hours, 48 hours has been absolutely dreadful and been a tough time for me and my staff.
Thanks, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the unbeaten run goes. Alan Kerbishley, he mentions there that his players were confused in terms of what the referee was signalling that led to that second goal. Let's just have a look at it again. Is this a fair point he makes?
Well, I thought it was a foul, actually. I think Lee's saying they thought it was their throw. But I think Green catches Johnson, is it?
But the referee, they're saying that he signalled something, and that's where the confusion is born from.
I think they switch off because they think it's either their throw or their foul. But Green runs to the ball and picks it up and throws it in very quickly, and they're on the back foot from there. Phillips, this is a fantastic turn. He's unlucky. Bennett does well, but Ephraim gets there first, and you know that was probably the vital goal because I think they was always in the game, Huddersfield, but to get back to 2 was a bit too much for him.
It's interesting to hear what he had to say about a lack of urgency from his side because they had plenty of possession at certain periods in the game. They dominated the corner count. But in truth, were they simply not allowed to convert that urgency into anything?
Yeah, as we said, I think Lee said himself, they did start well and they had lots of possession, but they never really fashioned anything. And Charlton got their goal, and once they got their noses in front, it was 2 banks of 4. It was very difficult for Huddersfield to break them down. And, you know, they huffed and puffed second half, but they couldn't get the chance. They couldn't get that little bit of luck to get them back in the game. And Charlton, in the end, were well organised, very, very fit. I was impressed with their fitness, and they worked their socks off and got their result.
From a former Charlton manager to the current Charlton manager, Chris Powell is with Patrick Davison.
Chris, in the context of what you'd like to achieve this season, how huge a result was that? It's just another win. That's what it is. You know, we played a very good side tonight. It made us work very hard for the 3 points, but it's just another win. It's our 19th game and 46 points. I think everyone's happy with that. No one else could do it, so what was the key to beating them? Well, I think we stayed in the game. They started off very, very well, to be fair to them, but I think we were bright with the 2 goals that we scored, especially the second one, but you know, terrific header by Jan, who's made a big difference to us since joining the squad. And you know, we had to be dogged when we had to be and show good character. But you know, we played at times. You know, it's quite difficult for some of the boys who, you know, it's their first real big game. You know, with any real significance. But you know, it's about us tonight and all my fans, and I'm really happy we've got 3 points. Well done, Chris. Thank you. Thank you.
Very briefly, Alan, when you were managing him as a player, did you see a future Charlton manager?
Well, I think I did, you know, because he's always inquisitive. He always had his say on things, and I mean, he was a great player and a great player for Charlton. And I think bringing him back was a fantastic coup.
Alan, thanks ever so much for your time. So Huddersfield's unbeaten record is gone, but more importantly, Charlton are 7 clear.
Watch all 5 Sky Sports channels on your mobile and online with Sky Go.